This is kind of a weird angle. Well, if you're a trading community owner, and if you're below 5K, then this video is for you. That's 5K a month, 5K just in, overall generated revenue. If your MRR is at 5K or lower, this video is for you. If you've never even made a community yet and you're like, hey, I'm profitable, make sure you're profitable before doing this shit. And, I want to build a community. I want to start doing content. I want to, do this and that and start forming, a paid community or mentorship, whatever it is. This is exactly what I would do. And, we've done multiple six figures for people. So this is coming from someone who's made, damn near $1 million worth of, revenue for trading community owners. I can show that right here. Anyways, this video is just going to break down what to do foundational wise, because a lot of the time when people explain this stuff, they explain it in a marketing way. You know what I mean? Explain it in a way where it's like sales funnels or sales teams, or you need to do this style of content because it retains to this audience better, or, just kind of stuff that only a marketer would know, or someone who's familiar with selling. You as a trader, you're not really going to understand it because that's not your field. That's why you come to people like us, because we fill that knowledge gap that you don't have, help you make more money because we understand the whole marketing thing. So I'm going to explain it pretty foundational so you understand it. Literally anyone who understands these three words are right here: competence, value, and trust you're going to be able to make a proper community that, makes you multiple 5 figures a month. It's very scalable doing these three things. So I'm just gonna do it now. The first one, and this is honestly one of the most important, is competence. That's something a little bit more different than what you typically hear, because people don't really say you need to have competence. But we're in a trust recession right now. Like, deadass, we are in a trust recession. You can't just pull up in a Lamborghini like Tai Lopez and say, this is my new Lamborghini in my fucking garage, and just print millions of dollars doing that, because we're in a point where flashy, showing off your, insane lifestyle just doesn't really work anymore, because people are so conditioned to that, to where it doesn't have the same effect. Whenever you have consistent patterns being used, like flashy lifestyles, that's going to get conditioned to eventually, just by human nature, and it's not going to work anymore. Not saying it doesn't work, but that can't be your only sort of marketing, or your only sort of, showing who you are anymore. It doesn't work. So you need to have competence. It's just showing, hey, I understand trading. That would just be payouts, from fundeds, payouts, and then trading live, showing your executions, trade recaps, and then teaching trading knowledge. Because all four of these show that you understand trading if you can do this properly. And my bad if you can't read this. I have fucking chicken scratch handwriting. When you show payouts, when you show trading live, when you show trade recaps, when you show teaching trading knowledge, that shows that you understand what trading is, and that shows that you know what you're doing. So in turn, people are going to, one, trust you more, and you're going to be giving value to them, which I'll get into these two because they're both very, very foundational to a proper trading Discord. Competence, and one thing that I kind of think about this with, is someone named Jevin Lindell. And if you know who this is, this was a very, very old, one of the first Discord sellers whenever trading kind of started blowing up. Whenever, it was the whole TJR bootcamp era. Whenever a bunch of new traders were starting, there was a big influx of people into day trading. And Jevin Lindell was one of those kids who basically banked and made a lot of fucking money off of these new traders by selling a free Discord. It was like $25 a month. I was one of them. And the main reason he sold so well is because he had competence. This kid was like 14 years old, and he knew almost every single trading, like ICT concept. He was consistently showing trade recaps, live execution, shit like that of him, like, making money in the markets. And that right there sold so many people then. Now, that was a while ago. We weren't necessarily in a trust recession then, but, this still does work. It's foundational. It works regardless, because competence will always outdo the flashy lifestyle, will always outdo, showing, hey, I bought this Lamborghini with trading, but that doesn't show that you know trading. You could have bought that, that Lamborghini could be fucking leased. Your grandparents could have bought you that shit, and you're just saying, trading to sell a mentorship, to sell, whatever it is. So that's why this is so valuable. The second thing is value. And this kind of plays into competence. So value is just bridging a gap that your current, let's say you're making content. With your content, you are giving value by bridging a gap that your viewers are having trouble with. So let's just say for ICT, you make a video on fair value gaps. You are giving value to people who don't understand fair value gaps yet, because you are bridging that gap between them not knowing fair value gaps and knowing fair value gaps, if you get what I'm saying. So this value is essentially just YouTube videos. And then also you could say short form, like TikToks, Reels. I would really only stick with YouTube videos if you want a little bit of sauce on actual like trading, traffic and stuff like that. Long form is always going to be your best audience because they're sticking to you longer. They're not watching a 30-second reel. They're watching a 10-minute video or 20-minute, 30-minute video of you explaining, what a fair value gap is. So you're always going to get your best traffic from long form because they're naturally just more conditioned to you. They understand you a little bit better. You're building that trust aspect a lot better too with YouTube videos, because it's just, once again, they're getting to know you a little bit better than a 30-second clip that they saw on IG Reels or TikTok. And another thing too, you have to realize people go to YouTube to learn or to get entertained. But specifically, if people are going to watch fair value gap videos, they're going there to learn. Typically, people aren't going to short form to go learn. They're doing it to get entertained, to brain rot. You know what I mean? They're not doing it to learn anything or get anything out of the short form. That's how you start displaying value, by showing competence through short form and long form, which would be YouTube videos and then IG Reels and TikTok. By doing these two things, this is whenever you're going to start building an audience and you're going to start conditioning people to like you and, show that you're an actual trader. But now it's the trust that comes in. This is what you actually need to sell. My marker's going out, but this would just be lifestyle and then community engagement. So this could be going live. This could be vlogs. This could be more of the flashy lifestyle stuff, because what you want, and the difference between trust and competence is, with competence, you're just showing that you understand and you actually know what you're saying. Trust is whenever people build a bond or some sort of connection with you to where you're displayed as an authority with that competence by giving value. Then your audience is easy to sell to. That's how you make a cult-like audience, by giving value, displaying competence, and building trust with them. Because if you nail all three of these things, your audience is going to like you so much. You could, and I'm so thrilled about this, if let's say you have 5K on IG and you display all of these really, really well and you have a cult-like audience, you could easily be making about 30K a month through mentorship, actually coaching people with high ticket. That's why, that's where all this comes into. And so, like, once again, to go back to trust, lifestyle would just be vlogs, showing off your lifestyle, giving them a look into your personal life, kind of just getting them to know you, getting your audience to know you a little bit better. So they're like, oh, I actually have a bit of a connection to this guy. Let's say, a lot of your audience likes UT football. Show, hey, I like the Longhorns. I'm, a part of UT, or I went to UT, whatever it is. That's going to build trust off of that, because y'all are having, common, not differences. I'm trying to think of the word. I'm blanking right now. Common interest. That's what I was trying to look for. Y'all have common interest. That just builds trust because, you're more likable now and you have competence and you're giving value. And then they're like, oh, this guy's a UT football fan. Shit. If I want to coach, I'm going to go to him now. You know what I mean? Because now they have trust with you and they like you a little bit more than they did before. That's also where community engagement comes in. Actually showing your community that you respect them, you like them, you actually want to teach them, just showing that you're a person that they can go to or a person of authority for, whatever it is trading. That's where that trust factor actually gets built. It's just by engagement. If you go live with your audience and answer all their questions and talk to them like regular humans, that's going to be a lot easier to sell to than someone who barely pays attention to their audience and just hires mods to talk to them. And it's like, you get what I'm saying? Like, these people really need to feel like they know you. These viewers really need to feel like they can connect to you and they have some sort of common interests with you. Without that, it's a lot harder to sell to. You don't build that cult-like audience that you not necessarily need to sell to, but that's a lot easier to sell to and you can make a lot more money with if that's your goal. But I mean, that's really it. I'm not trying to make this video to be like a Miro board where you can just kind of copy and paste all the notes that I have down. I want y'all to actually learn from this by taking notes on whatever it is, just through what I'm saying and, anything that's on this board. Whenever you're going into 2026 or even now trying to build a trading community, have all of these in mind. Have all three of these foundations in mind. And honestly, you could take these and go build your community now. Where everything needs to start whenever you're going in and making a community. If you have any questions regarding this, let me know. My IG's in the description. Ask me, comment anything. If you want to work together, I have my booking link below. It's not a sales call. I want to make that clear. That booking link is just for me and you to meet each other if, we have common interests in working with each other. I want to get to meet y'all before fucking working with y'all, you know what I mean? But yeah,